Now, let's start the program in earnest by looking at the issue of security and citizens' awareness. Security, of course, is a big thing in Nigeria today. And with a population of over 190 million people, we seem to be in a dire security mess as individuals can no longer sleep well or even travel within the country, especially to certain geographical zones, due to the stronghold that some sects have on those areas. Safeguarding yourself and your family is now a big issue in the face of social vices, trespassing, uncertainty, Boko Haram, and so on. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome to the studio this morning, the studio in Lagos, a security expert, Colonel Hassan Stan Labo. Good morning.
Thank you, Alero.
Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And joining us from Abuja, we have a security practitioner, Bish Johnson. Good morning, Bish.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Now, since I have
Colonel
much with us here in Lagos, I think I'll start with you, sir.
It's okay.
How would you describe our situation right now as far as security is concerned?
Unfortunate. In one word, I would just say unfortunate. If I'm to flesh it up, I would say that as a nation, I think we could do better. Far, far better in protecting ourselves, in protecting lives and property. I guess so. It's not a matter of guessing. I think that is one of the major components of the social contract government has with the people. So I think it's only important that necessary protection is availed citizens.
How would you say that the security agencies are doing? How's the police doing in safeguarding lives and property?
I would say the agencies are acting within available resources. They are doing their best because if we have to analyze the agencies, it is important that we look at the manpower deficit which they suffer. The police is highly, highly deficient manpower-wise. And that has created a situation where the military itself has been far stretched. Today we find the military engaged at times in first-line security responsibilities. Okay? When ordinarily...
That is the function of the police, right?
Good. And it is only when the police is overwhelmed that they have to come in. Like the situation in Benue and Taraba, we all know that it is right for the military to come in, you know. But given the situation with the police, by way of what I've just said, deficit in manpower and so on, at times we see ourselves hurriedly bringing in the military to play certain roles. Yeah.
Now, Bish, in light of what Colonel here has just said, it seems that every individual should now be involved in securing himself. Is my conclusion, would you say my conclusion is right?
Well, first and foremost, let me completely agree with what the Colonel has just said. The situation in the country is very dire. There is economic hardship. There is political uncertainty. There is social upheaval. And there is human and material insecurity. And we are asking our security men and women, especially the police, to do magic. They cannot do magic. There's huge deficit in terms of manpower in our police. It's quite unfortunate that you're going to ask a force of less than 500,000 personnel to provide security for over 180 million people. That is, if that is our population, because some of us do believe that Nigeria is probably way, way more than that.
Oh dear.
Now, coming back to your question, well, security is everybody's responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the government alone. Everybody, individuals, groups, must do whatever it takes, you know, to be conscious of their environment and be able to provide security for themselves and their family. And I'm not saying in terms of carrying arms. This has to be done within the confines of the law. Unfortunately, because of the hardship in the country right now, people are worried about how to put food on the table. People are worried about how to pay their rent. People are worried about how to pay school fees for their children. So security for them is secondary. Those other things remain their primary concern. So until we can create the right environment where these basic needs of people are no longer their primary concern, security will continue to take a back seat as far as citizens are concerned. So it behooves the government to create that enabling environment where basic needs such as food, water, housing, clothing are no longer, basic concerns for people.
When you say basic needs of housing, clothes, and shelter, that you're saying that's the role of the government. But beyond these things, as individuals, maybe we should go like breaking it down one step at a time. Basic awareness principles that one citizen should be aware of as they move around, as they get involved in the different things that they get involved in. What would you say should be?
Well, first and foremost, you have to know your environment where you live. If you live in a community, you should be able to know your neighbors, so that when there's a strange individual in your community or in your neighborhood, you'll be able to recognize such person and know that this person probably doesn't belong here. So that is the first thing that you do, is to know your environment. If you don't know your environment, when it's normal, when it's not normal, you won't be able to recognize that. So that has to be done first. Now, as you move out of your immediate environment, you equally need to be security conscious. You have to look out for the same thing that you look out for in your environment. Is what is unusual. Read. If you are literate enough, read newspapers, listen to radios, watch TVs, look out for advice from experts, so that way you can be properly guided, when you venture out of your environment.